Hi friends, and welcome. On today's adventure, Tina and I are headed north. We're going up to Cordingley Lake to fish for big-time smallmouth bass with our good friend Greg Bourgidnon. Now you frequent flyers, you may know that Greg runs Nakina Air Service, the float plane company that takes Tina and I all over northern Ontario. What you may not know though, is in his off time, Greg does more than a little bit of smallmouth fishing out on Cordingley Lake. Cordingley is the very lake that the float plane base is on, and Greg knows it as well or better than anybody. And I have to tell you, when he offered to take Tia and I out for a day after a recent trip up north, well, let's just say when people routinely catch 5 and 6 and even 7 pound smallmouth bass out of the water that he's offering, it didn't take us long to say yes. Hey, I'm your host, Kyle Randall. This is my Wilderness Journal, and it's the 4th of July. The Americans are invading Canada, and we're looking for bass. As soon as we stopped, we were all fishing, but of course...
That's a big bass, girlfriend.
Get her on here.
Yeah, that's how Tina is.
Nice.
If you could keep 6 or so of those alive in the live well for Greg for about a month.
And before I could land Tina's fish, Greg hooked up.
Yeah, cute. That's the word I was looking for. Cute. Why don't you let me do that?
Okay.
First stop, first bite, we already had 2 3-pound plus fish.
Sticking right there in his mouth, right where I want to put my thumb.
Yeah.
Oh, come on now. Oh, I don't like it either, but somebody's got to do it.
Oh, this one's bigger, eh?
Oh no, Tina's is much larger. You can hold them up next to her if you want to feel bad. Go right ahead. Look at that. Nice, girl.
Thank you.
Want me to put it back?
Yes.
All right. Oh, there you go.
Thank you.
Well, you did good, as always. Little twitch bait action. Greg was using that Kyle bait and still caught a fish, so I'm thinking they'll hit anything. That first double proved what I suspected. Cold, raining, doesn't matter. This place always coughs up fish. There's fish. Ah, that's not a walleye. That's pulling a little bit more like a smallmouth. Not a huge smallmouth like y'all catch, just a tourist model. But
Yeah, it's not as big as mine.
they all fight really good. And where are you going to go to catch smallmouth like that this far north?
Oh, he's fat.
Greg, go right, there's another one come running up in, turn up behind the rock there, ran right up next to him. Following it right up there, right there where that fish is at, going behind it. There, that's what you come to, Cordingley Lake, smallmouth capital of Canada, right there. Home of the legendary Darby. Easy. Only problem with these little baits is all them little hooks, but that's all right. We'll take that. Yeah, there. That's a smallmouth bass. Oh, you know, again, not as nice as yours, but. There. Getting lessons from legendary bass master professional Greg Bourgidnon, and most of what he's saying seems to be working. If the rain will just hold off for a little bit, he might make a bass fisherman out of me yet. Tina, on the other hand, already knew what she was doing. Up one. There you go, buddy. Sit. This far north, catch bass like that, it's just amazing. But we're glad we're here. Take this rain gear off, it won't make it rain, will it, Greg?
Yeah.
I'm going to take the chance. I'm going to take the chance because it's getting kind of nice. It's after all the 4th of July. That's what every good American does on Independence Day. Goes to Canada.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good-looking spot. Oh, and a good-looking fish hit it from a good-looking spot. You called it, boss. There he is, a nice smallie. See that down there?
Oh, yeah, that's a nice one. Hey, you got a nice one, Carl.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a mistake. He thought it was your bait. That is a smallmouth. Oh,
geez, I
oh,
just missed one.
we just had another one on there. We was fixing to do a double. Look at that bass. Now, come here now. You that bad? You done? Finally? Maybe? It's a good thing a 40-inch pike can't fight like that smallmouth knowing it'd ever catch one. You know, you'd never land one. Come here, buddy. Now look. Oh, look at there. That's almost like a grown-up model there, boss.
Getting better.
Hit that little Missouri minnow. I might have to sell you one of them before I leave, eh?
You may have to.
What do you think? Is that all
Beautiful.
right?
Just beautiful.
That is. I'll tell you what. That is a smoking smallmouth. I don't know. Crowding 4 pounds anyway. From my fingertip to my elbow.
Yeah.
That'll work. Whoa, turn around, look over there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, did those come in an adult size? It's a big bass. You could buy at least an inch.
Look at. Oh, yeah. He's big.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's found a hook though. You got to throw him back. It's not bad for a Canadian. That's your catch walleye.
It's a gorgeous fish.
Yes.
Wow, that's a boat full of them would put you in the Derby somewheres, I think. Somehow I knew that was going to be the.
On he goes.
Job.
Huh.
I feel bad almost. We're catching these fish and Tina's not doing nothing but heavy lifting. Almost feel bad. Yeah, I had to watch her catch walleye for 4 days in a row. I'm over it. Greg was doing a great job of positioning the boat out of the wind, and in between the rain showers, the fish were still biting, so yeah, we just kept fishing. The fishing was getting better and better, even if Tina hadn't caught one in the last 10 minutes. Still,
move up
when
by
she
this
started
edge up here.
accusing
There's a
Greg
couple
of
more
turning
up
the
here
boat
yet.
so she
Oh,
couldn't
Dan's
get to the
calling,
good
so-
spots, he told her, hey, I'll motor you up here. I know there's got to be some good ones. Now, friends, you gotta love a guy that can call his shot,
Oh, God,
even
it's
if the
another
fish
huge
does hit the wrong lure. And fortunately
He's
for
a
Greg,
nice one. Oh, Tina's got one too.
there. Let me look at Greg's real quick. Oh no, there's an egg sack still on it, I think. You better hurry up and get that so I can go over there and see that girl.
I just don't like putting my hands in their mouths.
Oh,
They
you
got
and me both.
They got that many hooks in there.
Look at that. Tina's over patiently. What about my fish? Yes, yes, Tina, there is a Santa Claus. Yes, your fish is bigger. Did you take that hook out?
Yep.
There you go.
Got it.
Once you hold your fish, you can put it back. You got her?
Yep.
All right. Sweet. Put it back, you show off.
Okay.
Oh, it's a big bass, ain't it?
Oh, there he goes.
Another double in more great fish. Friends, this was beginning to seem like a day that, quite frankly, you might not see come around again. When you're on them, when it's working and everybody's catching fish, it is so much fun. And it doesn't matter who catches the biggest one, unless, of course, you're Tina. But for the rest of us, it's just fun to be along for the ride. And speaking of along for the ride, I had just noticed it was getting kind of quiet in the boat. I hadn't heard anybody talking. I hadn't heard any fish slap in the water. And then I look back and I see Greg's got a fish on his line in one hand and the remote for his trolling motor in the other hand, steering us away from the rocks.
You can fish and drive at the same time.
Pretty talented, isn't he?
Awesome.
Now, I'm not sure, but that might be the very definition of along for the ride. Don't you think?
Come here, baby.
That's a better fish.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, and he's got a mouthful of hook too. Another nice one. He would work on Derby Day.
That'll keep.
You not get one by that boulder out there?
Out by that rock? Well, I'll throw out there. Even though I think he tells me to do that just to get me to cast away from the fish. You never know. You know what they say about Canadian fish guides? How you can always tell when they're lying? You know how you tell?
I don't want to know.
They're, I shouldn't tell this, but I will. Their lips are moving.
Oh,
Yeah, little they don't tell you. That's not in the brochure. They don't put that in there. This guy knows where the fish are. There's no doubt about it. You get a chance to come up here. Don't just get on a plane and go somewhere. You might want to try a little of this bass fishing. Call up to Nikina and say, hey, where's Cordingley Lake? Oh, there's fish. Oh yeah, there's a big fish. Oh, this fish is confused, Greg. It's supposed to be on your line.
Yeah.
It's a big fish.
Yeah.
He's confused. He doesn't know whose line he bit. I'm sure he feels bad now. He looks up here and says, oh, that's Kyle.
Nice.
That's right here. There's a Derby winner, boys. Look at that. What do you think, Greg? Is that a place?
It's a nice one.
Come here, buddy. Look at that fish. Holy canary. That's worth the trip up here all by itself, man. You just don't see him much better than that. Ah,
Oh, he's a nice one.
look at that.
That's a nice fish.
That is a big old bass now. I don't know how. Boy, just every way I reach to go in there, it looks like pain and suffering for me and the fish. So
I got pliers here.
yeah, I might need them, boss. That's a big one. Thank you. That is the nicest smallmouth you'll catch anywhere. The 4th of July, the Americans have invaded Canada again. And now we're taking their fish. But we're going to put them back. Yeah, that's one right there. Put a little tag on that one for the next month at the Derby. That'll weigh.
Oh, yeah.
Nice, nice fish. Set her back right there. Okay. Well, I'm beginning to understand, Professor.
You catching on?
Well, I don't know, but I'm getting lucky now and again, and that's just as good, isn't it?
They did say you were unteachable.
Well, well, most of them are right. By midday, the sun was at least trying to come out between the clouds, and I have to tell you, the fish were biting so good. We had already landed so many big smallmouth, I actually was starting to believe we were past the point of just being lucky. And lucky or not, just after Greg eased us up to another shoreline, T and I cast out and... There it is. That's going to be a problem. They're not supposed to go under the boat. Did you read the script? Oh, and it's still going too. I can't get him out of there. There he is. Oh, there he was. Try and look at that. He's just not quitting. He said, I like it under that boat. It's shady. Look at there.
Feisty guy, eh?
He is too. He's not huge, but I tell you what, there's not quitting either. He wasn't. Can you see that?
mm-hmm.
Are you done? Come on. Get up on my thumb. There he is. That's just incredible. I mean, we don't got to hold that up to the camera. That's a big fish. Now hold it the other side of me. It's still a big fish. And just clean as a hound's tooth. Beautiful. Put that back. So, oh, he's got one there. Let me put this in back. There's another one. Another double.
Two.
He does too. You want me to land that?
No, I'm good.
I'm used to getting stuck. That's what I was.
Yeah,
He was
that's
confused.
it, yeah. He's a
That'll
little.
work. You want them pliers?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
I'll return the favor. How's that?
Yep, thanks. There we go. Well, he's pretty close to Kyle's, isn't he?
Yeah, if you was to stretch him
Sounds
out
pretty
double that
close.
length, he'd
Do I have to do
get-
this
there
now?
you go. Now
What
you
a
can
pig,
have your
eh?
own show.
Goodbye.
The fishing was getting so good that it seemed like every time we moved, whether it was to a new piece of shoreline or out onto a point, even back out into the wind, Greg would point to an area or a rock or something and say, cast over there. There's fish going to be there. And most of the time there was. Now, occasionally, of course, Tina went her own way. And yeah, you know, Tina.
There you go.
Holy Hannah, he didn't call that shot, did he?
No, he didn't.
Well, let's see if there's a second one.
That took about a second.
Oh, spit your hook out.
That was rude.
Yeah,
That was a big fish.
yeah, it was.
Fish.
You're supposed to hold on to them a minute longer.
Wow.
That was a good call. He said right there. That's pretty impressive.
Arr.
Look at that. Just like an expert. And friends, even when we did lose a fish or two, it was never long before we were hooked up again.
Come here.
What do you got here?
I don't know. He's going in circles. Ah, he's little, but he's going in circles.
One's the ones.
Yeah, he's little.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Nice.
I like that.
That's a couple of
Oh, I got
times.
one. I got
No. The guy behind you says, yeah, you're all done. It's my turn. He says, you're
Yeah, I
all
think we
done.
found them again.
I think there's one here. You could be right.
Not the biggest ones, though.
No,
No.
but they are feisty.
Oh, yeah. Can I release mine like you release yours?
Well, it takes years of practice. Certain level of skill there.
Catch another one, Dina. They're here. Okay, baby.
Oh, he's cute.
You want to make them big?
Yeah.
Just fun bass.
That's right. Hey, that's all right. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Goodbye.
They can't all be Tina-sized fish, you know.
No.
Another sunny day in paradise. Actually clearing off. I shouldn't say that out loud, probably.
Friends, we were catching so many fish and having so much fun, I decided I was going to change my lure just to try it. Even though it was the middle of the day, I was going to go to a surface bait because that is my absolute favorite way to catch smallies.
Trading her up.
See if we can get him to come up and hit her and show off a little. And I'll tell you something else about topwater baits that nobody seems to understand. They work out in the open water over suspended fish far better than people would ever imagine.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I catch them up in the middle of the lake here.
Yep. Those fish suspend down 12, 15 feet in the surface bait at topwater works just as good over them as it does on the shoreline.
Yep.
Nice and flat in here. We'll try a little surface bait action.
You get their excitement with that surface.
How about that?
Oh, and he got him.
Oh! Surface bait fishing in the middle of the day, in the middle of the lake. Yes, it does work. That was a big fish right there now.
Dang. There's one. Oh,
Oh!
he not real big.
Still exciting.
Oh, he is cute.
I may have missed the first one, but before Greg could wrestle his monster into the boat, I had another hit on my surface plug.
There you are. There you are.
I talked him into it. That's what I mean. That surface bait. Ah, I love it.
Ooh.
I think this fish has your name on it, doesn't it? Oh no, that's not lipstick. That's the bait. Doesn't that look like lipstick on that fish's lips? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Ah,
Nice.
open your mouth. Get up on me. Look at that.
That's a nice one.
Yes, sir. Surface baiting in the afternoon on the 4th of July, catching 5-pound smallmouth bass.
And it wasn't long after that fish, friends, and things went from really good to absolutely insane. We were catching fish in every direction on everything.
He just got by the lip.
Uh-huh. Look at that fish. Come here.
He's under the boat.
Whoa. He's a decent feller. That's a dandy.
Friends, the only really bad part of that whole day is unfortunately it did have to end.
Happy 4th of July to everybody from the States. And if we don't catch another one, Greg, thank you very much. It's been a tremendous...
It's always a pleasure fishing with somebody I can outfish.
Well, yeah. Well, what do you... So you're saying you didn't enjoy having Tina along? The fight before the flight. That's what I'm going to start calling that trip. And you can bet we're going to keep doing it. We had such a great time, caught so many tremendous fish, and it was a tough day. The wind, the rain, we still hooked them up and had a great time, and I certainly want to thank Greg and Tina for sharing it. Friends, if you go north, think about looking under that float before you get up on that plane. You might just be stepping over some of the very best bass fishing you'll ever find, and who knows? If you go out, Greg gives you a few pointers, tells you a few of his good spots, you might just run into us. And if you do, well, you can bet we're going to stop and share a cup and a fire, some fishing stories. And if we don't see you up there, friends, well, you can bet we'll be right back here so we can share another adventure from my wilderness journal.